Hello and welcome to the JoJo and Joe Show, coming at you live and direct from the Two Joes broadcasting studio in the Salt Lake City Valley. I'd like to welcome now my co-host JoJo to the show. Hi JoJo, how are you doing today?
Good morning, I'm pretty good. It's going to get a little hot today, but I spent some time outside before that happened, so yay.
Nice. Yes, you do a very good job of getting up in the morning and getting out there and doing things before it gets too hot, and I applaud you for that.
Yeah, I just can't take the heat. However, speaking of heat,
it's just smart.
There was some heat put on the government for this big reveal, which, poof, was kind of a dud.
Yeah, it was kind of a dud. We're coming at you on July 4th, the morning of, and this report came out on June 25th, I believe, last Friday.
And we've been waiting for it forever.
Yeah, we've been apprehensive and excited to see what extra stuff might be revealed, but nothing really extra got revealed. So I looked on the internet for people talking about it. There wasn't a lot of buzz. However, Krystal and Saagar is kind of like me, a UFO inquisitor. He's curious about this whole phenomena and would love to know more. So he and Krystal did a pretty good breakdown of this report that came out. So let's take a look at that, share our comments about it, and
sounds good.
Catch everybody up on the
big
latest
reveal.
Yeah, here we go.
Didn't happen.
We also have some new developments on UFOs, so let's go ahead and throw this up there on the screen. It's a new report that was actually released from the Office of the Director of National Intelligence. I put my TLDR up there. I do think that's the most significant one, which is the U.S. government just admitted in 18 known instances UFOs demonstrated advanced technology and that they have zero information to indicate that it's human. Now, here's the thing, though. There were a lot of people who were very underwhelmed by this report, so I'll just give people the top line. There were 143 unexplained sightings since 2004. There's no evidence of extraterrestrial life or a technological breakthrough by a foreign adversary, though there is no evidence that either is also ruled out.
Right.
There is 18, that's what I put up there on the screen, included potentially advanced technology that the United States cannot understand, and 11 were near misses with government aircraft. Now, in terms of the response to this report, there was a lot of speculation, there was a lot of anticipation, and
That's what camp we're in. Well, so that's interesting. 11 near misses. That's new.
But no hits.
Wow.
I mean, 11
of course not,
near misses assumes 0 hits. Otherwise, wouldn't that have been in the report?
Yeah, but I'm just saying 11 near misses. They described them as near misses. I wouldn't describe what happened in that Nimitz encounter a near miss. I mean, they were just playing with each other. Or playing with their food, right? I don't know what you're saying.
Yikes.
So, yeah, I just think that's interesting. I have never really heard that before. So that means it is a threat. I mean, wouldn't you? If I had a near miss, that would be threatening to me. And if I was the military, I would keep my eye on that stuff.
Yes, absolutely. And so this is only since 2004.
Yeah,
so
which is when the Nimitz encounter happened.
180 something, and then from that they've boiled it down, and they're willing to admit to 18, where they don't understand the technology. They don't think the technology is human.
Yeah, again,
I mean,
they're trying.
What they're saying.
They're trying to shoot holes in my theory that this is just black ops tech.
Yeah, and then 11 of them were what they would call near misses. So,
yeah,
so since what year was that?
2004.
Yeah. And now it's 2021. So
right.
How many years is that, Mr. Math?
16, 17 years.
So if you boil that down, that's pretty close to a little over one actual real UFO, not human, sighting that the government has admitted to in the last 16 years. More than one a year, if you average it out.
Yeah.
So
kind of underwhelming. I thought there'd be more.
Well, I think what they did is they eliminated everything except for the stuff that's seen by top brass that they're willing to trust, and there's obviously more that just regular people have seen.
Yeah, this is just the unclassified stuff.
Yeah, they have no clout. Yeah,
it might be like an iceberg, and this is just the tip of it, and the real stuff, the good stuff, is classified, and they're not going to tell us about that. Maybe, perhaps.
Yeah. It was just, well, the big deal to me is that they're saying it's not human.
Yeah.
That's the big deal.
I understand. At the end of the day, this thing is only like 9 pages. And really what it comes down to is that the government was like, we need more data. We need to go out and search, our databases. We need to make sure that we analyze these things, or we need to make sure that we do a comprehensive sensory review. I would say the biggest takeaway from this is what I put up there, which is, yes, there's 143 instances of known sightings since 2004, which cannot be explained. But the most significant to me were the section where they talked about advanced technology. 18 known instances in which the government observed on their radar screen a movement which cannot be explained naturally, indicative of some sort of technological breakthrough. And look, at least according to them, there's no indication that there's a foreign adversary that was doing this. And I just want to quickly go over that one. So for this to be true, that China and Russia have this technology, not only would they have had to make the greatest breakthrough in human flight in modern history,
right?
They would also be using their super secret breakthrough over U.S. soil, over U.S. military aircraft. So repeatedly, to 143 times. So you're going to have me believe that a foreign adversary creates this awesome new technology, which if we got it would completely change the game. And then they're going to use their technology over U.S. airspace repeatedly and over U.S. military aircraft. Once in order to test it, maybe. 143 times? I just don't think so. It sounds preposterous. And I'm not denigrating the Russians or the Chinese. I'm just saying this, which is that any sort of breakthrough like that, there's some sort of scientific indicator. The atomic bomb was theoretically possible 15 years before it happened. The SR-71, everybody knew it could happen. The sound barrier, everything. There's no explanation for any of this. There is zero scientific explanation for craft that move in ways that were observed on radar, and that's exactly why the government is at least coming out and admitting it. So I guess I agree with the conclusions of the report. We need a lot more data. We need a lot more information. But it was very underwhelming, Krystal. There were no videos, there were no photos, any of that stuff. With that being said, maybe that those things, those videos, photos, and everything now exist in the intelligence community because somebody had to compile all this data, and maybe that will get leaked to a journalist like Jeremy Corbell or George Hack or somebody else there. So that is my hope, is that we can get something more out of this.
He's making some
overall,
good points.
Mixed reviews on this.
So just so people understand, they examined 144 of these sightings, and they found one that they had an explanation for. It's also noteworthy that because one thing that the skeptics were saying is they threw in this line that said essentially, well, this could be like radar error. This could be some sort of, a visual processing error or some issue.
See, that's what Neil deGrasse Tyson says, essentially. He's not buying any of this UFO stuff.
Well, he kicked Pluto out. What the hell?
But he's very skeptical. I've seen other astrophysicists say that, they're a little bit disappointed in this because obviously something's going on, right? I mean, we've got these unidentified things flying around.
Yeah, I'm surprised. Well, I don't know.
So no vids, no photos, not foreign, not us.
And so the most recent government photos that we have is from the Nimitz. Is that correct?
Nimitz, and then there's the East Coast similar radar footage. I think we've seen that as well.
Which was
there's like
from
three.
what
There's
year?
3 big ones.
Yeah.
I think the next year, 2005.
So the most recent one that we have seen, that the public has been allowed to see pictures of.
I want to say there's one from 2017 that was recently released.
Okay, well, we'll have to take a look at that. But they are weeding it down by it has to be on government radar, U.S. government radar.
Yeah, I think what happened after 2004, they decided, look, we need a way to process this better. We need, on our forms, when pilots see something, we need a process in place so the pilots can file these reports.
And
so
was that after the Nimitz?
Yeah, I think so. And then that's where we got this 144 from. And only one of the 144 were they able to explain as something other, it was explainable.
Yeah.
143 were not. Of the 143, 18 showed advanced tech.
That isn't
We
human.
can't do it.
Yeah.
We don't have that tech yet.
Yeah. And he made such a good point. If it was another power like China or Russia that had developed this, by now they would be using it against us. Let's face it. Trump was in office, you think they would have just not used that technology if they had it?
Yeah.
He really pissed off China on purpose, in my opinion. You know, go poke the bear that might have this advanced tech that could send out a UFO to...
I don't know if he was trying to poke the bear all that much, JoJo. He was trying to make friends with all the dictators, it seemed like. He was meeting with the leader of North Korea, the China leader,
well,
Putin.
let's not get into politics.
Yeah, okay.
I'm sorry.
Anyway, yeah.
No, I shouldn't have. But, you know,
he made a good point, because one of my theories is this black ops, and they're putting them up against our jets to see how they respond. Well, yeah, he's like 143 times. Is that really necessary over 17 years? You know.
Well, and you know, pardon me for saying this, because I am a human being and I have these tendencies too. We wouldn't wait that long. If we had that kind of tech to use against whoever we felt like using it against, we would use it.
When we broke the sound barrier, we kept it secret for a year, which isn't really that long when you stop and think about it.
Yeah.
And the nuclear bomb, I mean, we started developing it in World War II. We used it at the end of World War II, so it wasn't secret that long either, a few years maybe, you know?
Yeah.
So, anyway, back to Krystal's wrap-up or her summary here.
Issue with the technology that's portraying something that isn't really there, isn't behaving in the way that it's being perceived as behaving. But a number of these reports, hold on, I have the number here, a number of these reports, actually 80 of them, involved observation with multiple sensors. In other words, some combination of eyewitness testimony, radar returns, infrared indications, or other electro-optical sources. And
that to me, what pokes holes in Neil deGrasse Tyson's theory that, it's a radar glitch, or, we don't have enough evidence. Well, you got multiple radar systems from multiple ships, planes and ships, and eyewitness. What more does he need?
So is he an astrophysicist?
He's an astrophysicist, yeah.
That, I do kind of find that bizarre, but you need to realize that his age group, right, how old is he?
It's my age.
He's 60.
No, probably 50s.
Younger.
Yeah.
Well, we grew up with that stigma. If you're in the public eye, are you going to admit that there's UFOs and aliens? Hell no.
Oh,
he wants to keep his popularity.
That's very true. He definitely likes his popularity, and yeah. Oh, I had a point, but I've lost it.
Did it have anything to do with Pluto?
No, it was with Neil deGrasse Tyson and the multiple sources of data and why.
Why it's a radar glitch.
And he knows things that we don't. Let's face it. He knows how the intricacies of physics and space, time-space works better than we do. So maybe that's his sticking point. Even with all these observations, it doesn't explain X, Y, and Z to him. So
maybe we can do some research on the internet and see if there's any interviews with him about UFOs. That would be interesting to review on the show. Or
addressing specifically the Nimitz encounter and other things like this.
Yeah.
And I think he actually was on Joe Rogan's podcast, and I think Joe Rogan tried to bring up some of this stuff, and he went on this long, rambling answer that just kind of skirted around the outside of it. He's quite the talker.
See, that supports my theory that he's just not ready admitting it because he doesn't want the stigma.
He can't yet. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah. And that's where let's face it, that's where most humans are at the moment. It's too scary to even contemplate, so we've made it into a societal, thing that you can backstab people with if they admit it.
Then, as you mentioned, there were 18 that involved movement patterns or flight characteristics that are beyond anything that we know to be possible.
Yeah.
So you have a significant number of these where it's not like you're relying on just one data source for the sighting. You actually have multiple confirming data sources for the sighting. So it makes that idea that, this is just like a radar malfunction, that makes it not impossible, but makes it a little bit less likely. So essentially, the report is like, we don't know. We have no evidence that it's our classified program. We have no evidence that it's an adversary like China or Russia. We have no evidence that it's extraterrestrial. So here's the sightings that we've had. Here's one that we figured out what it was. Here's 143 others. Some of them, these objects are doing stuff that we don't think is really possible. We have no idea how they're doing it, and let's study it ultimately some more. So, I guess, I don't know if, I didn't find it underwhelming. I found it I guess it was what I expected because I didn't think that they were gonna come out and be like,
a couple videos.
"We got it,
right?
we figured it out."
Just want some video.
The other thing that's worth pointing out here is while these sightings dated back to 2004, so over the course of 15 years, most of them were actually from the past 2 years.
Yeah.
The reason is because the Navy put that program in place so that there was a standard reporting mechanism so that more of this data is starting to be collected, which is also a positive indication that maybe we're going to get more data, more sightings, more ability to figure out what the hell is going on here. Because right now, none of the explanations are plausible. Like, none of it is actually plausible. There's no good explanation for any of this. So it's just a gigantic shoulder shrug and like, meh, we'll keep looking into it, I guess.
It makes me sad. People, like, they do the shrug. They're like, oh, I mean, this is, look, potentially one of the greatest stories in humankind. And all I would say is this, which is that we need some more curiosity. The ability and the inclination of so many people, even smart people, to just dismiss a lot of this stuff is very troubling. They're like, come on, whatever. If they actually had it, what about camera resolution? I think these are ludicrous because, once again, your iPhone camera is not going to capture something moving several miles away at a heat signature in the middle of the ocean in the dead of night, okay? Of course it's going to be grainy. That's how, it's a miracle that we even have a photo of it at all, or a video of it at all. And so what I would say is that regarding all of this, it seems clear to me that, and I want to be fair, one thesis is that it's secret government technology. Now the government says we have concluded it's not secret technology.
Well, they say
you can't trust them,
right? It's possible that the people who did this report, who were relatively high-level people who have access to classified info, maybe it's an even higher level of classification that they have no idea about. That's one potential theory.
That's one potential. Like I said, the foreign adversary one is there. I will say that if you're one of those people relying on the weather balloons, that this report specifically at least dismissed the weather balloon theory in some instances. So if you're out there and you're pumping that, I'm very sorry to tell you. The only plausible explanation that I've heard that could account for the multiple sensors is that this supposedly occurred after some sort of software update on the radar from Lockheed Martin or one of the... I haven't gone too far down this rabbit hole. That being said, what, you're not going to fix the software from 2004 to 2021? 17 years of broken software? Give me a break, okay? So every single potential explanation to me doesn't carry water. Now, that doesn't mean there's any evidence for extraterrestrial either. There's no evidence for anything. I just think it's one of the great unexplained mysteries about what exactly is happening. And because it's so hard to pin down, people just don't... It's just like, there's no... We talk about this all the time. Like the Miami thing. There's no Trump angle. There's no Biden angle. There's no Republican angle. It just is. But it's a great mystery. It's a good story. It's something that requires a lot more investigation. And yet, I mean, I guess I'm doing my radar on this, so I'm guilty of this too. What are we arguing about? Woke military, critical theory, and look, I think it's bad. That's what my whole radar is about. That being said, this is a way bigger story than that. And so at least we cover both. Most people don't even care. And I think that that's a big problem for political media today.
You see, I completely
thanks so much
agree.
for watching.
That's...
Yeah, you can tell. Go ahead.
Well, no, all of his points were well made. They were succinct, and they made absolute sense to me.
Yeah. Yeah, you can tell, he's the UFO buff of the two, and Krystal is not so into it. On the old show, whenever Saagar wanted to talk about UFOs, Krystal was never there. She was never at the desk, which was funny. People would make comments about it all the time. But now she's at least willing to be on a show talking about UFOs, and she made some good points, too. I mean, none of the explanations are plausible. I mean, even the alien explanation, in my mind, doesn't seem all that plausible.
Well, how do you explain me seeing aliens?
I know. Well, how do you explain, how did they travel here? How did they arrive here? Is it through dimensional portals? Is it through space and they somehow found a needle in a haystack? There really aren't good explanations.
In other words, how do they manifest themselves onto Earth?
Yeah.
If it's from a different dimension or different time stream, or, are they really... These are their ships, and they're observing us, and there's more than one kind. And there's more than one kind of alien behind it.
Yeah,
I mean, that's my experience.
It's nuts.
It's not what I think. It's my experience. And, we can delve into that another podcast, but yeah.
So,
it's very cool that finally the government is admitting point blank.
Yeah, something's going on.
We have no clue what this stuff is.
but we're looking into it.
Well, of course they say that because they're trying to keep our fear down.
Well, and which I think they should have been saying all along. This should have been the stance all along, in my opinion, but that's just my opinion.
It'll be interesting to see if the societal stigma around this is going to get worse or better over the next few years.
I think it's going to get better because you can share stuff like this on the internet. I just saw this the other day. YouTube decided to put this on my feed, and I decided to click on it.
In today's episode of Homestead How, we have a lovely day on our homestead.
So this guy's up in Wisconsin, and he likes to set up time lapses, and he caught something.
Cool.
I want to show it to you. And there's, this. I've seen other videos similar to this, but
So
this one's pretty good as far as.
Okay.
Because remember, I told you about this other guy who had one of these cameras up that is for security. It's just on 24/7. And he was looking at his footage and saw those lights come over the top.
Yes.
Yeah, this is similar to that.
Okay.
But it's a little bit better shot of the actual craft.
Okay, and you're putting the link in there for people. Okay.
But so here he's with his family. This guy, in the opening part of it, he talks about time lapses. But now you can see he's pointing at a light on his screen here, and he's showing it to his daughters, and they're freaking out and going like, "What the hell is this?" So he's, I'll put him on here a little bit and see what he says.
Trying to find me again.
Where the government's gonna come murder us.
10 million, 20 million megapixel camera or something. So we should be able to zoom in and get a closer shot.
Camera, you could zoom in on your nice camera. It is.
That is my nice camera.
Yeah.
Okay, look, here we're going to
So
edit.
he's going to zoom in.
And then we're going to click crop, and we're going to go in closer to see what it looks like closer. So we're going to crop like that. If nothing else, this is a cool shot. You can see the house and the stars. Okay,
Yeah.
crop.
Oh, what the heck?
Whoa.
There's little lights. There's little lights.
I'll show this on the screen, too.
Oh my God, wow.
Impressive, huh?
Oh my gosh, Mr. Freaking Move.
He's going to make it a little bit better here so we can see it. There, see? Okay, so what the heck is that?
Wow.
Pretty impressive. And there's lots of people on the internet that have similar types of photos and never get officially
Makes
reported.
me want to get one. We should get one of those for our backyard.
We need to get a nice
That would be
camera and
so
start learning how to
cool.
do time lapses.
Yeah.
But the problem is you can see he doesn't have the light pollution that we would have. So we're right in the valley, so
Yeah,
it would
that
be
does.
next to impossible.
But our backyard is relatively dark.
And you know what else I found out? Because there's lots of talk about this Skinwalker Ranch in Utah, where lots of weird things happen. And
I've never heard of it.
finally got around to, maybe we should do an episode on that at some point. So far, nothing I've seen about that place has really made me say whatever. It's just kind of a bunch of people trying to figure out stuff, and none of it's really compelling in my opinion. But cow mutilations have been happening there and other weird things. So, but anyway, the interesting part of that is it's due east of Provo, where this ranch is, up in the Uinta Mountains, and Provo is where Steve on the basement office saw his UFO. So I just thought that was interesting.
Yeah, that is.
But yeah, this shot here, this is a UFO sighting caught on camera, Montello, Wisconsin, June 13th. He got 4 shots because
of this year.
Yeah, it just happened. And this other guy, and I like reading the comments to see if anybody else had similar experiences and whatever, but this one guy says, "Oh my fucking God, no way. I've been looking on YouTube for the last week to see if anyone caught this thing on camera. Saw it on my way to work on my overnight shift in Kankakee County, Illinois, as I was crossing the river. Thought it was a helicopter because it was flowing the bends on the river looking for something, but it just didn't look right."
Cool.
Yeah, and I looked that up, and that's due south of where this guy saw this thing. Mm-hmm. So
that's
anyway,
fascinating.
Yeah, fascinating. Stuff is out there. We don't know what it is, and I can't wait to find out what it is.
Yeah, well, and I wanted to
Hopefully we will in my lifetime,
I wanted to bring up another point that, what's the guy's name again?
Saagar?
That Saagar brought up, which I think is great, because this describes his generation, Let's be curious. Let's admit, hey, we don't know what this is, so that ought to pique our curiosity, and let's all look into it, rather than, hey, we don't know what this is, so let's ignore it.
Obfuscate it,
It's
or
a
keep
very
it secret, or
different.
tease people about it.
If you want to say the difference between Gen X and Gen Z, that's it right there.
Perhaps.
We ignore If we don't understand, it's too much data, we ignore and we move on. We pretend like it doesn't exist. Okay? They are not wired that way. They have been brought up with the internet. They want to know. And that was one of his last points. And I just wanted to point out that I completely agree. And I am so excited for this upcoming generation to see if they can get rid of the stigma. Because that's the first step.
Yeah, I think, I like to think it is, the stigma is being dissolved.
Lifting.
Yeah, it is lifting.
Yeah, so I really thought that was a good show. So
yeah, it was the best wrap
points.
up of that release of that report that I saw. They did a good job. Happy they did it.
The big reveal.
Yeah, so now that's behind us, and we can move on and keep taking pictures with our awesome cameras by setting up these time lapses. I mean, that's amazing. It looks like a floating pontoon. It looks like it might be V-shaped, right? With some kind of cockpit or viewing deck on top. It's pretty wild looking.
Well, and it looks different than some of the other pictures, which matches my experience of there's more than one kind of craft.
Different kind of craft.
And more than one kind of race or...
Of alien.
Yeah.
If you believe in aliens, which I'm not quite there yet, but...
Well, you have the human race, you have various different alien races.
Yeah, I think maybe I'm to the point where I can put my Black Ops theory is as legit as an alien theory, maybe.
Wow.
Maybe
that's a
I could go
step
there.
for you, Main Joe. That is, so Black Ops, you're talking our government.
Yeah.
You think the
Super
United
secret.
States has this power and they have not used it for the last 18 years or whatever.
They have UFOs they discovered through an archaeological dig or somewhere else.
Yeah, but why wouldn't
crash
they
that
start
they have
using them?
Unengineered and figured out how to use them. Because I don't know. I mean, what are they just going to go start attacking people because they have this cool plane? This cool.
Well, how many wars are we involved in at the moment?
That's true, but that's just it. They want to keep those going. They want those to be perpetual, so they can keep selling machine guns.
Okay, let's not get into politics.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But it's a strike against your Black Ops theory. You know, here we are going into further and further and further. The United States is further and further into debt. The national debt is just incredible. If they had this technology and they could save themselves some money, why wouldn't they do it? You know, just show, hey, we're powerful. We can do what we want. Boom. That is what the United States would do if they had that tech. That's my opinion.
Well, I don't buy it, but anyway. So, UFOs, the report has been released. There are some interesting tidbits in there that Saagar and Krystal spelled out for us, or summarized for us, which I appreciate, and it was interesting. And the search goes on for answers. Yeah,
and let's hope that we can just let our curiosity be piqued and keep looking into it.
Keep looking.
You know, don't just blow it off. This is interesting stuff.
Yep.
This is next level, possibly next level stuff.
Like Saagar said, I mean, if we can figure out what's going on here, it's the story of the century.
Yep.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us on this shorter podcast. Just wanted to make sure you guys were updated. That report is out.
For the big reveal.
Yeah. And just wanted to give you our 2 cents on it. Tell us your 2 cents in the comments section below. I'll try and remember to leave the links to this family's UFO sighting in the description box below, or in the, you know what I mean. Until next time. From the Two Joes podcasting studio, this is the JoJo and Joe Show.
JoJo out.